Welcome back to another episode on our Think, Create, Initiate channel. So excited to have you here. It's your girl Grace, and today I'm going to be diving in deep into the hot topic of how to start a business with no money and still be successful. And I just want to tell you that this is absolutely possible. I'm living proof of it. Charlotte's living proof. And the clients that we have and the clients that we teach are all living proof that you can start a business with little to no money. Absolutely possible. So let's get going. I'm going to break down 4 simple tips which are going to give you an insight into just how to do that and how to do that successfully. So just to kick off with tip number 1, start with what you have. It's very, very important just to look around and just see where you're at and what you can utilize to your advantage when starting and growing a business. So let's look at your skills. What are you good at? What are your strengths? And also, what are your passions as well? Because when starting a business, it needs to be something that you actually feel passionate about. There's a love there, there's a desire there, because that's going to help you, especially when the going gets tough, and it will get tough in business. It will help you to keep on bouncing back and being resilient. So looking at combining all of your skills, your strengths, and packaging them into something that's greater. This is going to lay the foundations for you to start, create, and grow a successful business. So alongside skills, also looks at experience, looking at the past. What have you done that you can now apply into your business? It may be looking at your experiences in terms of what you've been doing in your 9-to-5 role. Is it something that you can use in terms of a transferable experience as well as transferable skills as well? This is all very important. Some of us are all too quick to sort of dismiss what we've been doing in our 9-to-5, thinking it's not relevant. But the 9-to-5 has actually been there, and it's actually trained us to have certain skills that we can then apply and transfer into our own businesses. Whether it's admin skills, it's finance, accounting skills, project management skills, all of these skills should not be forgotten. You know, you spend months or years acquiring up these skills, and they're going to work perfectly in your very own business venture. Also looking at your knowledge. What knowledge have you acquired over the last couple of years? It all comes hand in hand with your skills and experience as well. If you've been on any training courses, if you've done any self-development as well, all of this knowledge is going to be applicable to your very own venture. So start to list all of this down and think, okay, how can I make this into something that is more of a viable idea? And I'm going to come on to how to take this viable idea and turn it into a successful business from the get-go in a moment. And then lastly, under tip number 1 is all about looking at your available assets or resources. So what do you have in hand now that you can either use to start your business? Now, for many of us who are building our businesses online, these things are namely just going to be your phone or your laptop. That's all you really need, and good Wi-Fi as well, I should add. Once you've got that, you can just get going on your business, because the next steps are the real mechanics of growing an online business. Having your phone, your laptop means that you can take your business anywhere, you can connect to people from anywhere, and it just helps to bring the world a lot more closer, having that technology in place. So that's tip number 1, looking at what do you have right now. Now, moving on to tip number 2, it's all about building those relationships. To be successful in business, you need to start growing and nurturing relationships. Relationships are going to be the lifeblood of your business. Not only will relationships turn into paying customers, but it will also hopefully lead to collaborations and further opportunities if you keep putting yourself out there. So by getting online, starting to build up an audience, starting to take all of those skills, all of those experiences, all of that knowledge that I spoke about in tip number 1, and putting that into, packaging that into something whereby you can start to test the idea to see if it's viable. So one thing that I did when starting out in business was I got into Facebook groups where I knew that my ideal or desirable audience were hanging out in. So I always knew that I wanted to work with women. Of course, it needed to be further redefined at the time because I was just itching to get started. But by testing ideas and, just to prove the concept that I'm going to be starting a business, it's going to be helping women who are mainly in the 9-to-5 world and want to build a business around small pockets of time. By testing that idea and seeing if there's any traction out there, you know that you're onto a winner. So get online, start to prove your concept by putting the idea out there, seeing if you gain any traction, any momentum. And from there, you can start to build up your audience. Start by nurturing them, start by talking to them, asking them, if I was to put this out in a coaching program, if you are looking to become a coach, for example, how long do you think is enough time in order for a transformation to happen? And even things like, asking about the price point as well. These are all things that you can easily do, and people will be more than happy to support you and help you. And even from there, you may find that you get your first 1 or 2 clients from there. It's so easy to do, and it's happened to me and Charlotte as well. Just by proving our concept straight away, we had our first 3 clients as well. The third tip is all about doubling down on no more than 2 social media platforms. Now, this is so important in the beginning because you want to quickly build up your impact, influence, and then in turn your income. So you need to start collapsing time. And by doing so, it means that you're showing up in no more than 2 places, whether it be Facebook or Instagram, but it feels like you're always there, you're always showing up and you're sharing valuable content. That is so important. When you're appearing on these social media platforms, you need to show that you're an authority, that you're a leader in your field. So you need to create content that actually highlights that, whether it be sharing your expert knowledge in a particular industry, with the facts of what you do, or you're sharing your story, how you came to be at this point where you are now, what challenges, what hurdles that you overcame, as well as if you've helped anyone in the past, even if it's for free, but yet they've experienced a transformation through talking to you, through maybe working with you on a process that you didn't even know at the time of the process. These are all things that should be shared on your social media channels. Even sharing your behind the scenes stuff. So you starting out in business, you sharing that you've tested your idea, you're starting to gain traction, because people love to follow a story. That's why reality TV shows are just $1 billion, it's just $1 billion industry, because people like to feel like they're coming into your world. They like to track your movement, whether you're experiencing your highs and lows, but they're seeing all angles of you, and it makes your personality really shine through, and it becomes more humanized in what you're doing as well. So when you're showing up, you can show up with your written posts, compelling written posts. You can show up doing live videos. You can show up doing interviews. But whatever the case is, make sure that you stick to up to 2 platforms in the beginning, because you also don't want to fall into early overwhelm or burnout. Now, that's something that happened to me in the beginning, because I felt I needed to be omnipresent. I felt I needed to be everywhere, but that's not the case. Now I'm really seen and felt and heard on Facebook and Instagram. And then over time, I've moved on to TikTok and now onto YouTube as well. But in order to really start with a strong start, make sure you do up to 2. If it's 1, that's absolutely fine. You just have to make sure that you're showing up well and you're sharing value all the way. That's so important. Number 4, last but by no means least, is all about being consistent. Consistency wins the day with all of this. So you've looked at starting with what you have. You've looked at building relationships, knowing that they're the lifeblood of any successful business. You've looked at doubling down on up to 2 platforms. Now you need to be consistent, because when people are looking out for somebody maybe to purchase on or to work with, they need to know that you're consistent, and not that when the going gets tough, you're easily going to just fall away because it's all too much for you. They need to be looking up to you as a leader, as I was saying before. So by being consistent, it's going to help you put yourself ahead of other competitors in your industry. It's going to help you break through the noise. So even if it's 1 post a day, if you can even stretch to 1 live video a day, something behind the scenes, whatever activity you're doing, being consistent, and let these activities be a lead generation activities. So these are activities which are actually going to help you produce income in your business, okay? So these are activities such as content generation, as I was alluding to before. These are activities where you're looking out for maybe collaborations or opportunities, things that are going to help you further your business. It could even be funding as well, depending on the nature of your business. Of course, there's a whole host of lead generation activities, and Charlotte and I, within our free Facebook community, we're always talking about the main activities that you should be focusing on. So if you're not already a member of the Female Entrepreneur Collective from Side Hustle to Startup Facebook group, then please do join using the link below. So there you have it, my 4 top tips on how to start a business with no money and still be wildly successful. It's absolutely possible for you. Please do take into account all of these tips, and I promise you, you will start to see some really great traction in your business venture. So as and when you do start to take these on board, please do drop a comment below, because I would love to see what you're up to. If you've got any questions, I'll be more than happy to come back and answer that. And also, please do remember to join our free Facebook community as well.